Welcome to Sergeant War Dog TV.
Let's go to war, baby. Let's go to war, baby. That's what I'm talking about, goddammit. Let's go to war, baby. Let's go to war.
Steve James, that's what it is. All I know is war. All I know is shoot. All I want is more, but I got some things to do. I'm a dog of war. Hell's what I've been through. I'm a dog of war. I did it all for you. I'm a soldier, I'm a warrior. Got an emblem on my cover. And ask me what I did for ya. I put the trash deep down under. Yeah, I'm a dog of war. Hell's what I've been through. I'm a dog of war. I did it all for you. Yeah.
Sergeant War Dog TV is outdoors TV with swag. Now let's go to war. Hey, if I haven't told you already, Sergeant War Dog TV has an app. It's now out on both the Apple App Store as well as the Google Play Store. Download it today. Find directions to Camp Doghouse. Hear all of our podcasts. The entire Sergeant's playlist. View pictures and get directions straight to Camp Doghouse, all from the app. Download today, Sergeant War Dog, baby, on the War Dog Trail. Salute. Be sure to follow Sergeant War Dog TV on social media. You can find Sergeant War Dog TV on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, Vimeo, TikTok, and LinkedIn. Catch us online. Subscribe, like, and follow us. Salute. Welcome to the War Dog Trail, episode 27. Now, during this episode, I would like to take us into two subjects surrounding PTSD. Okay? The first is realizing that when you have PTSD, sometimes you are the problem. And the second portion of the episode, I would like to discuss PTSD and parenthood and how difficult that can be. Now, first off, I would like to seriously have all veterans that know they suffer from either PTSD or any other form of mental health disorder. It takes a very mature and open-minded thinking and understanding person to understand that there are times when, remember, you have the mental health diagnosis. So even though you don't realize it, you don't think about it, it doesn't even cross your mind, there are times truly when it is us, the veterans with PTSD or other issues, mental health issues, that have to take the time to realize that, hey, I have this condition, and this condition affects everything about me. It affects the way I think, affects the way I feel, the way I treat people, speak to people. If I feel like dealing with people in general, affects your moods. And sometimes we don't realize that. Sometimes it's very difficult to realize that. Because 9 times out of 10, we might see ourselves as being okay and being right in most situations. When the reality is, and you go back and think about it later, and whatever you might have said or done, sometimes you can realize in there that there were steps that you could have taken, or at least tried to take, besides your normal taking your medications or your normal therapy or counseling. Outside of that, there are still times when you have to look yourself in the mirror and say, you know what? Damn, that was on me. That was my fault. Maybe I went too far. Maybe I shouldn't have said that. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. And yes, we also need to acknowledge the fact that many of us with multiple combat deployments, multiple combat tours, especially on the front lines in the infantry and special ops guys, there are many times that we need to be sedated in order to function properly here as civilians now, or as post-war war veterans. Now, sometimes that's because we are still, live wires, still ready to jump up for a possible attack, possible defense. We're still keeping our heads on swivels, from snipers to robberies to murder. You're always constantly worried about being ready for attacks and who might attack you regardless of the reason. Feelings like that type of paranoia, is also part of PTSD. So over the years of my experiences with 14 or 15 years of trying to transform myself, trying to realize that I had actually been the one to change, that I had actually been the one to have the mood issues or the avoidance issues, I had to realize that sometimes it's me that brings down the life of the party. Either I'm hyped and excited and ready to roll into something and have a good time, or there are times when I feel as low to the earth as possible, like an insect, because memories might come back of things you've seen or done, or your general mood that day or that moment just might be down. Now, once I realized that more than once I have been the drag down of a party or a good situation, that was when I had to realize on my own that I don't want to be the one that brings down good situations, good vibes, being in good space. So I had to realize that I needed to remove myself from certain environments because, yes, it was me that was the problem. Now, when I initially finished active duty service, I handled this all by having my own apartment and strictly sticking to just working and going to school full time for both. I knew I was going through certain changes. I knew the world looked different to me. I knew I didn't have my platoon full of Marines with me anymore. I was just out here. And that majority of civilians obviously have never left this country with a gun and have never kicked in or entered someone else's house with the purpose of intent of capturing or killing them. So once I realized these things, that caused me on my own to resort to certain forms of avoidance. And it worked out on several different levels because I didn't know what my moods would be like or how fast my moods could shift. So I had to become aware of the fact that, for one, my medications were sedating me. They were lowering my, aggressiveness, hyperactivity, paranoia. And I didn't even know I needed to be sedated. But all these 14, 15 years later, I do now realize that being a live wire, being a military war veteran, without sedation, you will always stay hardwired and up-tempo about being attacked. You will always have your guard up. You'll probably always have trust issues. Because there's no feeling like the trust that you had with the men and women you serve with. You might even find it agreeable with me to say and understand that the feeling you had of trust and loyalty amongst the people you served with and who you knew would ride or die with you, for you, who were honest enough not to stab you in the back or rob you, steal any of your stuff. You might not ever, ever, ever in your entire life find that same type of loyalty, friendship, or camaraderie. And that's the sad thing to have to realize or acknowledge for us. That nowhere else in the world can I feel as good as I did as when I was with members of my platoon. But the sad part is, once you and them finish your service or transfer to different jobs or pick up different ranks, the entire group of you, sometimes as much as your whole unit, or as small as just a 4-man fire team, we all spread back out across the country and return to our hometowns. So even if we stay in touch by social media or phone calls or returning to reunions for the unit, you still always miss what you used to have and how we were. You may even still look at old photos or current photos of your uh, fellow service members, like I do, and you don't even see them so much for their changes or getting older in life. You might forever remember them in that phase of who they were and how they looked when you served with them. I mean, your mind is still that far locked on to, yeah, I remember that guy. Yeah, I know that guy. Yeah, I fought for that guy. Yeah, I was ready to die for that guy. Or that woman, that female. But you're still attached to who and how they were back then. And you can't do that because the world moves on. They have moved on. Their life situations have moved on. So some of them now that were single while you fought in the war with them, now many of them have dependents, families, and they've had to corral themselves into being family men, family women. And that takes a lot to understand, to adapt to, and even for yourself. If your situations change in life and now you become a mother or father, or you become everything now sedated and watered down of what you were and who you were. But that's the way it sometimes needs to be and has to be. And we must be forever cognizant of, with our condition, that, remember, not everyone thinks the way we do. We are not always right. Often, if we don't realize it or check ourselves, check our moods, our anger, our paranoia, or any other conditions, controlling your depression even, we can seriously be the problem sometimes. And it takes a very big person to acknowledge that, to work and focus on trying to change that, or to simply accept that and to do everything they can, or you can, within your power, to not be a burden on society, your family, or yourself. Because in the end, no one cares that you have certain conditions from the war. No one can realize the separation of who you were during the war and what you experienced versus who you are after the war. Because they see the same individual, regardless. They see the same human being. And as I said previously in other episodes, very few want to know or hear that incidents from your service are now spilling over into your post-war life and possibly causing problems, possibly causing you to be more angry, more hyper alert, more snappy, and especially more intolerant of mistakes made by those that are on your team, your workforce with you, your coworkers, family members, because most of them have never ever had to experience the level of knowing that mistakes made can get them killed. Mistakes made handling certain things, or mistakes made not following certain procedures, mistakes made even with something as simple as forgetting to pull the thumb clip and pull pin out of a grenade. You know, most civilians look at things and they think, oh, you know, it's just a mistake, no matter how large it was. But there aren't any major repercussions behind it. While you and I know that there are major issues and problems behind such mistakes. And we're not talking about military mistakes. We could be talking about financial mistakes, decisions or priorities, financial priorities, issues when you thought individuals should keep their mouths shut, show some kind of bearing and loyalty that they didn't or couldn't. Entire issues like that still have to come back to you realizing who you are now. Not who you were then, not who you used to be, not how great in shape, you know, macho, and ready to whoop anyone who came your way in terms of the enemy. You have to realize now that, hey, you're the only one amongst your spread out group of friends now who has PTSD or any other mental health condition. And whether it happens during, before, or after any incidents, you have to own up to your own accountability of asking yourself whether it was you that was the problem. Whether or not it was you who might have taken things too far, who might have gotten a little too mad over something that could have been handled a little differently. All right, we're going to take a break now and head straight into the Sergeant's playlist. This first song is titled Lose by Jay Sexton. You can find Jay Sexton on Instagram at JSEXTONMUSIC. You can find him at Jay Sexton Music.
Shit, I almost caught that felony. Yeah, gotta quit and do what's best for me. Yeah, wasn't focused on what's next for me. Knew that it would click eventually. How I get so high when I was so low. Wasn't moving forward, frozen shit, just let it go. Cause the past is just a stepping stone into the future. If I didn't learn the hard way, could've fixed it sooner. I had to lose, so I could visualize the win. I had to lose, it's not what's outside, it's what's within. And I choose to live my life to what I'm meant to do, so I could stack these W's. I had to lose, so I could visualize the win. I had to lose, it's not what's outside, it's what's within. And I choose to live my life to what I'm meant to do. Now all I stack is W's. Couple hundred failures. I guess I ain't no saint, no Protestant, Episcopal Episcopalian. I fucking bounce back and stack my paper tall. Never lose my will to grind when my back's against the wall. Just like that. Ain't no mountain high enough for me to climb past. Was defeated, but like Rocky, I just fight back. No matter how big all the losses were. No regrets before not winning on the regular. Being who I'm supposed to be, not wasting opportunities. I was scared, living cautious, learning lessons through the losses.
I had to lose,
so I could visualize the win.
I had to lose,
It's not what's outside, it's what's within.
and I choose
To live my life to what I'm meant to do, so I could stack these W's.
I had to lose,
So I could visualize the
I had
win.
to lose,
It's not what's outside, it's what's within.
and I choose
To live my life to what I'm meant to do. Now all I stack is W's.
Now all I stack is W's. Now all I stack is W's.
Okay, that was Lose by Jay Sexton. You can find Jay on Instagram at Jay Sexton Music. That is at JSextonMusic. Now, continuing on with the show, I really hope that the idea of realizing when it is us, when it is you that is the problem, really resonates with someone and helps them to make some form of transformation, either in their lives or in their ways or how they treat people, or their moods, or in taking their meds, or in continuing therapy. Because you do have to realize it is you that is the veteran. It is you that is a war veteran. And that's a very small minority of the entire country. So your views and your ways of doing things will forever be different than the millions of civilians who have not had the experience of war, or most of them who, couldn't meet the qualifications to begin with, who couldn't physically, do all that you do, who couldn't meet all the requirements of making it into the Marines, the Air Force, the Navy, the Army, Coast Guard, National Guard, or Reserves. Most of them can't handle it. Most of them wouldn't make it and would fail if they had to in terms of passing all their tests and qualifications to become what you were or are. So I really would like that to help someone in some way to be able to identify and accept the accountability of when we are actually the problem, or when you are actually the problem in any situation, in most situations, or in situations that even involve you doing nothing or just minding your own business, while it's taken as an offense by those who happen to be very social at the moment, that you just aren't feeling it. And I also beg you to continue to take your meds, which helps stabilize your moods. Yes, most of them are trying to calm you down and sedate you because we need it. I struggle with accepting or understanding that for a while. I often would ask, who the hell asked to be sedated? You know? Why do I need to be sedated? What's wrong with me? What have I done? I'm not out here, doing things that I felt would warrant that type of judgment. But then again, this is coming from you, from your eyes, and you can only see your perspective of it. Sometimes you can't see the whole picture or what it looks like to others or for others. All right, this second half of the episode, I'd like to delve into another touchy issue, which is PTSD and parenthood. Before I delve into that subject, though, I want to take another quick break. Take you to the Sergeant's playlist before we begin this new topic of PTSD and parenthood. This next song was titled Do the Most by the artist Tone Deaf out of Atlanta. You can find Tone Deaf on Instagram at one Tone Deaf. That is at one TONEDEAF, or on Twitter under the same handle. Without further ado, here's Do the Most.
Hey, yo, hey, yeah. What's up, kids? Hey, come here, look, check me out. Hey, y'all hot in the plate. Y'all hot 38. I was in a darker place. Hey, now I want a bigger state. Hey, now I want a bigger state. I ain't get hit by mistake. Just put in the code at the gate. My boy put a hole in your face. Hey, my bitch bad, yeah, she's so fine. My bottom red, just like wine. Don't sell no Nissan, don't drop no dimes. DJ stick, keep your ass in line. Stack on the rest, I'ma run over check. Nigga top me, they ain't getting me yet. Might do some push up cause I love the flex. My nigga push up with one in the head. Put on your block, slingshot. Keys in the pack, re-rock. I had fuck, team chong, hey. Ringing it bell, ding dong. These niggas play, they get shot and they know it. That by respect, nigga, know I ain't going. These niggas sleeping, I got the alarm. My brother got bad to that green like a farm. She wanna fuck, okay. She tryna cope, no way. I made 10 bets on the slow day. Run that shit up like a pro day. That thing I'm losing, forget it. What's in your blood, that's a midget. I pull out a nut on her titty. Hey, I run this shit up to infinity.
Wake up, pray to God. My mind on a dollar, gotta go and get my guap up. It's me and all my partners. Told my mama no more stressing. It's cheese on my nachos. They call me for the feature. Just pay me for the host. I gotta do the most. I gotta do the most. Aiming at these niggas' throats to the point where they choke. I gotta do the most. I gotta do the most. I'm trying to buy and sell a boat, so I gotta stay afloat.
Fahrenheit 451. Cost shots like a phone and a gun. I know these niggas ain't nothing. They just gon' act like they yeah. I like a last a little bit. Beat up her back in the reels. He's even acting again. Pouring up 4 popping pills. Shout out to 5, he in here. If I say slide, he in here. We just get fly like a lil. I swear you niggas not near. You cannot see me, Jacina. Got sisters, Venus, Serena. I'm tryna get in between them. I'm tryna fuck boy, they spleen up. Send a hoe straight to the doctor. Most of these niggas imposters. We eat them up like some lobster. You had the sauce and you lost it. Caught at a fumble. I done stay down in the jungle. Most of these niggas been talking, but them niggas know they won't rumble. They will not get in that ring. I hear they bitch make a scene. All of my niggas want diamond that water get hitting just like a damn sink. Can't be a square, I am not regular. Outside the box, how I think. If I say don't stop, beat up the clock, I just might buy you a mink. Yeah.
Wake up, pray to God. My mind on a dollar, gotta go and get my guap up. It's me and all my partners. Told my mama no more stressing. It's cheese on my nachos. They call me for the feature. Just pay me for the host. I got gotta do the most. I gotta do the most. Aiming at these niggas' throats to the point where they choke. I gotta do the most. I gotta do the most. I'm trying to buy and sell a boat, so I gotta stay afloat.
Welcome back. That was Do the Most by One Tone Deaf, Quez Keezy, and Tesla. As the main artist, you can find Tone Deaf on Instagram again at 1TONEDEAF. That is at One Tone Deaf on Instagram. And he is a both producer and rapper out of the Atlanta area. Now, PTSD and parenthood is a subject that I have had to live with now for 11 years. I've had PTSD for almost 15 years. And once I got married and had my first daughter, that took things back 11 years. So 11 years I have been, I now have another young daughter. Besides my oldest. So, personally, here you have this Marine grunt, used to being dirty, 3 tours in Iraq, used to being a rifleman, pulling triggers on people and whatnot, at people, handling business like I needed to. And then I had to transform to an entirely different individual, different person, since now I find myself in the role of husband and father. Now, as individuals with PTSD, there are many, many things that we just don't feel the same way that others do. There are many things that just don't scare us, excite us, or garner a reaction out of us the way they do for others. Our best example of this is when you're in formation or standing at attention and you don't need to say anything. I mean, you're not allowed to say anything, and you're expected to keep your bearing and to stay in uniformity with the men and women in your unit. It doesn't take any emotion to stand in formation. Doesn't take emotion to speak out or answer any of your superiors while you're in formation. Majority of what we do in the military does not require feelings, emotions, or even when they do, you learn very quickly that is something you need to get over very fast if you plan on surviving in that environment. Now, I am somewhat ashamed to say that there are instances, whether it be birthday parties, Christmas, certain holidays, that I simply cannot feel and have to force myself or pretend to actually like or want to participate in. And that's not fair to anyone that has to deal with a war veteran with PTSD. But at least I know I was making the effort and had made the effort for 11 years to handle that part of me as best as I could. Although it makes no excuses for the awkwardness or the lack of shown emotion or feelings of lack of love that I might have exhibited towards them or their event or whatever they found to be happy or exciting, because I simply can't feel the same things they do. I have missed 3 birthdays during the Iraq War. I have missed many holidays just as many other millions of other service members have. So when these days come around, holidays, birthdays, you might not always have as much happiness or cheerfulness or being happy-go-lucky as everyone else. Although you work hard not to show that or to let it affect anyone else, because it could seriously hurt them, hurt their feelings to not see you celebrating in the same way that they are. So you try to be fake. You try to pretend. You try to involve yourself as much as possible to keep things normal or under the appearance of normal, even though you might not feel anything for the day, or sometimes you may not even care for it at all. That's also one of the biggest things we have to be careful of. Either having PTSD, either realizing you are the problem, or especially while trying to battle PTSD while also being a parent or husband or wife. I don't have all the correct answers on how to handle this because I'm going through it myself. And even though I have been through some years of it, it's still just as foreign to me and strange and weird feeling as it was day one. And I know there are many, whether it's people that have had to spend time in jails or prisons, or people that have been away in wars, who do have a hard time feeling anything when it comes to holidays, birthdays, even their own birthdays, because they've missed so many of them and they've stopped relying or caring for them to be something that brings them up or brings their spirits up. You have to, as much as possible, not at a young age try to explain to your kids or child why you are so different, because they won't get it at that young age. But as they get older and they start to understand things about life, things about war, about the military, hopefully at some point you are able to get some form of understanding with them as to why you are different from most adult parents. It's totally not their fault. Even that has led me to realize that, man, I'm the problem. I'm the one with PTSD while your beautiful kids have to suffer with being with me. or have to suffer with being around you. After what we know from the Vietnam Wars and from the Vietnam War, as well as the Desert Storm, any of the conflicts during the 80s or 90s, it's very clear that veterans with PTSD can affect the livelihood of their children. Some have also confirmed or stated that they pick up residual PTSD because of you, as well as your spouse or girlfriend. They also pick up your habits of PTSD. And sadly to say, they might even develop PTSD because of you, because of things you might have said or done to them that they were hurt by or confused by. And that's not fair to anyone. To the children, to you. It's a real hard situation to try to explain why you might not want to go out and do some of the things with them that they really want to do because it bothers your paranoia or PTSD. Or you might not act the same way as others. You might be somewhat socially avoidant. Or you might not flat out be able to care about some of the things that we consider to be, petty or nonchalant or not really as important because they are things that involve, the things that would get the attention of a child or things that would garner emotion from a child. I hope and pray that this resonates with someone out there as a parent dealing with their PTSD or any other mental health disorders. It is very, very hard to do, considering the mental locks and chains that your own mind may place on you, as far as what you can do or where you go or how you interact with people or your children especially. But we are going to get through it. We can progress. I am a witness here to tell you that I've gone from 14 or 15 years of PTSD, 11 years as a parent with PTSD, and I've had to really, really take steps to learn, to understand my children, myself, my moods. Not to say this has anything to do about taking away from the focal point of your children being the center of attention. It's just that now we also have the added difficulty of trying to be that parent while suffering from a horrendous mental health condition. We'll take you into the Sergeant's playlist one last time. This song is called Dip and Lean by the group YBK 808. They can be found on Instagram at YBK 808.
Then I lean, dip, then I lean, dip, then I lean. I'm fresh like Mr. Clean, yeah, dip, then I lean, Dip, then I lean. Dip, then I lean. I'm fresh like Mr. Clean.
I'm first up on the scene. My outfit mighty mean. I buy designer jeans and they line up like some fiends. All these females on my church, they Astro past the perk. I'm leaning from the surf. Watch that booty go berserk. Know some honeys pay her rent. She on her knees pay for her sins. So nice I like it twice for fellatio with twins. BKOC, that's me. I hit the drop and then I lean. I Green Bay, D, Miami. What that mean? I pack that heat.
Dip, then I lean. Dip, then I lean. Dip, then I lean. I'm fresh like Mr. Clean. Yeah, dip, then I lean. Dip, then I lean. Dip, then I lean. I'm fresh like Mr. Clean.
Dip, then I lean. I'ma do my dance. Bitch, when you around me, girl, you only got one chance. If I don't like you, I'ma pass you to my mans. I'm busy with the chicken, girl, I don't need no fans. Welcome to my life, I got big plans. It don't involve you tryna get all in my pants. If you tryna talk, it better be about them bands. If you don't want that gunplay, then we can run them hands. Okay, gon' hit the folks with it. Drop, then get low with it. Millie rock, I'm stupid fly. Do the nay-day, then you roll with it. Boss, you ugly. Teach me how to Dougie. Do the void birdie, then you shoot with your buddy.
Dip, then I lean. Dip, then I lean. Dip, then I lean. I'm fresh like Mr. Clean. Yeah, dip, then I lean. Dip, then I lean. Dip, then I lean. I'm fresh like Mr. Clean.
Dip, then I lean. Got all these eyes on me. Not fucking with these hoes, yeah, I'm focused on the team. This business ain't for play, nigga, keep me in the ring. The man Ali said it best. Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. Cause I'ma stay on the scene till the money packs up the sea. Run my name to the teller, say withdraw, hold back the fees. No bitch came through with 3, try to ride on with the gang. Big C stay with the shits, kid, we stay up in this thing.
Dip, then I lean. Dip, then I lean. Dip, then I lean. I'm fresh like Mr. Clean. Yeah, dip, then I lean. Dip, then I lean. Dip, then I lean. I'm fresh like Mr. Clean.
Astro guillotine, hit the wall and dip and lane. Billy Rock left hand, smoking like meth man. 808 grow my green. Heisman little bitch, purple all over my wrist, shells all over my neck, haters all over my dick. White me down, show some respect. I'm a tsunami on land, nigga. Blowing this smoke like a
Vroom. I get them at you. Then my gang up. Then my gang up. Then my gang up. Then my gang is up. My fam up. Then my fam up. Then my fam up. Then my fam up.
I got thirsty like a data. Bad bitch, she a diva. Her bitch, she a eater. I don't think I need it, but now on my neck. I don't want the set. Screaming for my app. All I do is flat. I got thirsty like a data. Bad bitch, she a diva. Her bitch, she a eater. I don't think I need it, but that on my neck. I don't want the set. Screaming for my app. All I do is flat. Yeah, nigga, I be cruising with my fucking walls, fucking hoes. I'm a rock star. This the life I chose.
Okay, that was Dip and Lean by YBK 808. They can be found on Instagram at YBK 808. This has been episode 27 of the War Dog Trail podcast, where we've discussed realizing when you are the problem because of your PTSD or your mental health condition, as well as the second topic of PTSD and parenthood. In order to listen to all of the all of the War Dog Trail podcasts on demand, you can download the Sergeant War Dog TV app on both the Apple App Store as well as the Google Play Store. You can visit sergeantwardogtv.com and access the podcast section there, or you can search for the War Dog Trail on most major podcast platforms. This has been Sergeant War Dog, episode 27. Salute.